Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Hello and good morning, everyone. I hope everyone can see my slides and can hear me clearly. My name is Nur Aida Hussin, also representing my co-author, Professor Dr. Salina, who present a research paper entitled Strategic Maneuverability Practices and its Impact on Bumiputera Contractors' Financial Performance in Selangor, a pilot study. This is my presentation outline for today. I will cover 5 components of my study. The first one is the introduction, followed by literature on construction industry in Malaysia, research methodology, results and findings, and finally the conclusion of the research. Let us go through the first section, which is the introduction. I will cover 4 subtopics here, including research objectives, research scope, hypothesis, and lastly, research framework. Strategic planning is about ensuring that everyone in the organization is focused on achieving the organization's goal. However, to deal with strategic disruptions, companies should be flexible enough to maneuver the plan to achieve its goal. Strategic maneuverability is a rapidly evolving area of research, especially as it relates to business performance. Previous studies have shown that companies need to be strategically agile to deal with strategic disruptions, to change course and maintain their competitive advantage. However, there are very few studies on the impact of strategic maneuverability on the financial performance of construction companies, especially among Bumiputera contractors in Malaysia. Therefore, the objective of the study is to explore the relationship between strategic maneuverability and financial performance of Bumiputera contractors in Selangor. As for the scope for the study is done through literature review on the strategic management pertaining to the dynamic capabilities theory and strategic flexibility, agility, and responsiveness, and it will focus only on grade G7 Bumiputera contractors in Selangor. The proposed hypothesis for this study is based on the research framework, is that strategic maneuverability has a positive effect on the financial performance of Bumiputera contractors in Malaysia. As we all know, construction industry is a very volatile and competitive industry. According to Mulcahy, to survive, construction companies must have a clear objective, need to know where they want to go, how to get there, and how to remain there. Therefore, what it needs is a proper, thorough plan to steer the company in the direction. However, planning is not widely accepted in construction business as it is considered tedious and costly. Betts and Offery mentioned that construction industry began to adopt strategic planning in the 90s as a survival tool in the long run. The studies by Hartman and Stillings 2015 and Abu Zaid in 2018 suggested that strategic planning alone is not enough to drive business performance. Weber in 2014 in his study stated that to adapt to current business environment, it is necessary to be flexible, agile, and responsive. In this respect, a company's freedom of movement, its environment, and the quality of strategic control within the company contribute to its flexibility. Earlier research on strategic maneuverability or strategic flexibility began with Gotcher in 1977, who assumed that long-term planning requires flexibility. Let us briefly look at the construction industry in Malaysia. Construction industry is one of the main contributors to Malaysia's economy besides manufacturing and services. As we can see in the slide, the construction industry contributes significantly to Malaysia's economic growth in terms of GDP. Malaysia was not spared from the impact of COVID-19 pandemic. The economy experienced its full impact in 2020, with its GDP contracting by 19.4%. The decline was mainly due to the containment measures, labor shortages due to the closure of international borders, supply chain disruptions, and closure of sites following the Movement Control Order (MCO). The lockdown restrictions over the past 2 years continue to weigh on the industry output, um, although the industry shows a recovery in quarter four of 2021 due to the acceleration and revival of key infrastructure projects such as Mass Rapid Transit 2, Light Rapid Transit 3, Pan-Borneo Highways, and Coastal Highways in Sarawak. The construction GDP is expected to reach around 6.3% in 2023, with the lift of all COVID-19 restrictions, government's initiative, and probably revival of more major projects soon. In the 12 Malaysia Plan, the construction industry is predicted to grow by 4.2% annually compared to 2.7% annually during the 11th Malaysia Plan, making it one of the top three key industries that will drive Malaysia's economic growth and hopefully after service and manufacturing sectors. According to Economic Outlook report in 2022, stringent COVID-19 containment measures and temporary suspension of several mega infrastructure projects are the main reason for the double-digit contraction in 2020, which greatly affect the construction companies all over Malaysia, as well as the decline in labor productivity for the past 2 years. In this slide, I will share a brief literature review on the scenario of construction industry in Malaysia. As we all know, construction industry consists of many components, including thousands of contractors, workers, developers, clients, consultants, manufacturers, and suppliers, to name a few. The government agencies such as Ministry of Works, the Construction Industry Development Board, CIDB, and the Contractor Service Centre, the Board of Engineers, Board of Architects, and Board of Surveyors are the key players that supports and develop the industry so that it can produce the desired output. Construction industry is vital in the development of the country, especially in terms of infrastructure. According to Durdiev and Ismail in 2016, the construction sector contributes significantly to the satisfaction of basic social and physical needs of the people, in addition to the sustainability development of the overall economy by achieving its basic development goals such as job creation, redistribution, and the generation of output and also income. Malaysia is very unique because our construction industry is made up of two groups of contractors, which is Bumiputera and non-Bumiputera. Bumiputera has a preferential treatment, especially when it comes to public projects, whereby the government will determine a certain amount of percentage to be allocated to the Bumiputera contractors. Before bidding or investing in Malaysia, however, all construction companies, whether Bumiputera or non-Bumiputera, local or international, must register with the Construction Industry Development Board of Malaysia, CIDB. Construction companies that have registered with CIDB are classified into categories ranging from G1 to G7. Malaysia has always prioritized sustainable development in its national agenda. In this regard, the 12 Malaysia Plan has been aligned with the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development in order to complement policies and efforts to support the Sustainability Development Goals (SDG). However, it also contributes to the negative impacts, especially on the environment and social aspects of the country. Lapidus and Abramov, 2018, mentioned that industry is constantly plagued with chronic issues such as time and cost overruns, poor safety, and poor quality. When we talk about Bumiputera contractors, issues such as expertise, sustainability, and failures are often discussed, and many studies have been done in Bumiputera contractors' performance over the years. Let us move on to the next slide. This slide shows the number of registered contractors by states in Malaysia. From the table on the right, we can see that Bumiputera contractors make up 52.7% of the total contractors registered with CIDB until January 2022. Selangor has the highest number of Bumiputera contractors, followed by Johor and Perak. The construction industry, particularly Bumiputera construction companies, was chosen for this study due to several reasons. Firstly, due to the low participation of Bumiputera entrepreneurs in the economy. According to EPU report in 2018, despite the fact that they are the largest ethnic group in the country, accounting for 69.7% of the total population, the socio-economic status of the Bumiputera still needs improvement, especially in terms of the wealth inequality, income inequality, and also the low asset ownership. The second reason Bumiputera was chosen is due to the high number of Bumiputera entrepreneurs in construction sector, accounting for 52.7% of the total registered companies in Malaysia. And thirdly is due to the sustainability issues of Bumiputera construction companies, which have been discussed by several researchers previously, namely Ayub and Eman in 2006, Wong et al. 2010, Rahman and Rahmat 2016, Afzal et al. 2017, Shukur et al. 2018, Boss and Bosro in 2019, to name a few. Therefore, it is high time for the to study the impact of strategic maneuverability on the financial performance of the Bumiputera construction companies in Malaysia, particularly in Selangor. Okay, let us now look at the research methodology used for this study. As for the research design, the study followed a positivist paradigm and used quantitative research approach to data collection as suggested by Creswell 2014. The aim was to investigate cause and effects, and in the case of the study, the relationship between independent and dependent variables. In addition, the technique of survey research was used with the help of online questionnaire. Following Creswell 2014, this technique and instrument provides the opportunity to understand trends, attitudes, or opinions within a subset of the population, considering the research study, the questionnaires were also inexpensive and thus allowed for wider reach. As for the research method, a literature review was done on the strategic management pertaining to the dynamic capability theory and strategic flexibility, agility, and responsiveness. And the data were collected through a pilot study where a structured online survey was distributed to G7 Bumiputera contractors in Selangor. For the population and sample, based on the centralized information management system under CIDB, until January 2022, there are 855 G7 Bumiputera contractors registered in Selangor. According to Cooper and Schindler, the sample size required for a pilot study ranges from 25 to 100 respondents depending on the method chosen. So for the purpose of this pilot study, 30 respondents participated. From the collected data, let us look at the results and findings from the study. The reliability of each construct is evaluated after the unidimensionality of the construct has been attained. In order to evaluate reliability, the average variance extracted as well as the Cronbach's alpha and construct reliability are used. The total amount of variance displayed by the indicators that the latent construct account for it's reflected by the average variance extracted. The reliability test for this pilot study shows that Cronbach's alpha and composite reliability had a value above 0.7. The results also indicated that this study has a good validity as well as measured by AVE, all of which are above the threshold value of 0.5. Thus, all measurement instruments used in this study have an adequate level of reliability and validity. The extent to which the indicators represent the latent construct is reflected by the construct reliability. The values of the construct reliability for all the constructs in this study exceed the acceptable value of 0.6, which was proposed by Bagozzi and Yi in 1988. The values are within the range of 0.935 and 0.927. Chin in 1998 recommended that the coefficient of determination R-square value above 0.67 are high, while those from the range of 0.33 to 0.67 are moderate, while value ranging from 0.19 to 0.33 are weak, and any values of R square that are below 0.19 are not acceptable at all. Based on the structural model analysis in the table below, the R square value for this study is 0.598, which is regarded as moderate level of predictive accuracy. The value for the path coefficient is 0.408, which is statistically significant, with their p-values below the acceptable significant level of 0.05. Thus, the result supports hypothesis whereby strategic maneuverability has a positive effect on the financial performance of Bumiputera contractors in Selangor. As the conclusion for this study, the analysis done on the 30 samples and the results obtained from the examination of the hypothesized direct effect of the variables shows that there is a direct relationship between the variables. This implies that the strategic maneuverability is required to navigate a company through a dynamic business environment, anticipate market changes, and improve profitability, growth, and survival. Such findings contribute towards a better understanding on the impact of strategic maneuverability towards the financial performance of Bumiputera contractors in Malaysia. Thank you. I have concluded my presentation for today. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope if there is any question or any matters pertaining to the presentation, please feel free to contact me at my email idahussin@gmail.com anytime. Thank you again for listening.